YouTube, Instagram in a second. Okay, so we're live now, and I just want to start with what we're doing and really get into it because I don't want to be disrespectful to your time or my time. It's 6 p.m. every time we go live, so I want to honor that. And today we're going to be talking about college, all things college, getting into college, scholarships, grants, and just being a part of the college experience. Yeah, I'm really excited about this topic. So many people ask me and have questions about college. And honestly, just my family, my friends' family, a lot of people haven't, they sign up for college, but they can't stay in college because they can't afford the college. I'm like, you don't got to pay for college. But it's hard trying to walk them through it. It's hard trying to do this all, I'm going to say by myself. And that's really why honestly, this whole ideal and concept of the Library of Life started because I had so many people asking me for resources in some way, shape, or fashion. And even through therapy, I found myself giving a lot of resources. So now I want to be able to use this platform to be able to give resources away for free, give you all the information you need. If you have questions, these lives won't go away. Always put them in the comments on YouTube because I will be checking that more frequently than anything. And I will always put the answers in there, but we will also leave resources and I will contact Amanda's information in the YouTube description. So if you have any questions or if you want to sign up for her program just to walk you through it and have a more one-on-one experience, you can always reach out to Amanda. So can you introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do?
Of course. Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda. Friends and family call me ADP. Actually, a lot of people call me ADP. It's just my initials. It's nothing fancy, and it sounds way cooler than Amanda. I'm currently a district manager for Aldi. I've been there since last January. A little bit about my background and my personal interests, personal/professional interests. So I got a master's in human resources and industrial relations that I graduated with in December of 2023. And then I went to Dartmouth College where I got a bachelor's in sociology and a bachelor's in African and African American studies. And I'm launching what I call Scholar Stew. It's my new baby. I'm super excited about it. Again, my passions are anything HR related, anything college related. I get super excited about. So very excited to talk to you all today. I've been doing it for I want to say 8 years at this point. I didn't realize it'd been that long until I was preparing. So I don't know everything, but I know a lot for sure.
And whatever you can't answer, I can fill in the gaps because literally people come to me for every live that I'm doing. People have come to me for this information, and I just don't want to be that go-to person anymore. I'm tired.
I
But
understand.
if you want to jump into the live or if you want to share anything more, into the presentation, let me know. Or if you want to just, do you have anything else to add? Or if we have any comments or questions right now before we get into the presentation of all things college, scholarships, things like that. All right, I'm about to add it.
Okay, cool. This is perfect. I'll let you know when to advance, but I'm sure you can tell by my pauses when it'll be time. So this is what I call scholarship 101. I didn't really know what to name it because when we go through the about, you'll see that I'm gonna touch on a lot of different things. I said scholarship 101, but it's really all things college because I feel like you can't talk about one thing without talking about the other. So really, and you can go to the next slide. Really will be talking about a little bit more about me. I kind of gave you an intro, but just I can give you a little bit more about my background and why you should trust me. Then we'll go into the FAFSA. We'll talk scholarships outside of federal funding, and then we'll talk about the application process for schools, and then continuing education, which would be working with me directly through Scholars Do. So you can advance again. Thank you. All right. So, like I mentioned, I'm currently a district manager for Aldi. I've been doing that for what'll be 2 years. It's come January, so a little over a year and a half, but not quite 2 years. I went to Dartmouth College, and like I said, those are the bachelor's degrees that I got. I minored in public policy, and then I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where I got a master in human resources and industrial relations, which is my passion. And then, fun fact, and why you should trust me, I went to both of these institutions, which Dartmouth is a top private institution and Illinois is a top public institution. And I didn't pay a dime for either, outside of anything that I have to pay for out of pocket, meals, flights, books, those random things. But as far as tuition or any cost of attendance, I didn't pay any of that out of pocket. So we'll get into how I did that, and I'll share some tips so that, if it's you or if you have a child or a family friend or somebody who can benefit from this information, I'll walk you through exactly how I did that.
Yes, I love that
Me too. Me too.
because that is a big flex. I just want to tell people that, like a lot of people, and this is the honest truth too, because this will be available, for people to view in the future. And I want to say this: a lot of people go to school. I'm gonna just say it, as adults later on for the school money, and I get it. We need, but this is a stepping stone. Just like I said yesterday in the live, so are food stamps, Section 8, all those things are breadcrumbs to get you where you want. Like, don't get caught up into this, living for the moment. Like I said yesterday, I used to say that's future Sierra problems. I care about future Sierra because future Sierra and her problems impacts my kids' future. So just make the best decision as possible. And I was going to say the same thing, but then I'm not going to lie. My junior year, when I had car problems and I went to my bank, Wells Fargo, and I do love Wells Fargo. And they was like, you need to go to your school and ask them for additional money so you can get you a car or get your car fixed. I'm like, what? They not gonna do that? Like, yeah, you can get student loans. I didn't even know about student loans until my junior year in college. My whole tuition was paid for. I had scholarships and grants. And then my last year of college, that's when I didn't run it up, but I did what I could do. But I didn't mean to have to pay it back, honestly. But I didn't have to pay mine back. But it was because of working for a government agency for 10 years. It's a lot of different ways to get them forgiven, but if you don't have to, it's so much free money out here, and that's what ADP is about to talk to us about.
Yeah. And you know what? When we get further into the presentation, I actually do have a slide in here about loans because as much as you don't want to pay, sometimes you might, let's say you're going to a school that costs $70,000 a year. Maybe you found the $68,000. I talk about loans so that people can have that education because again, it's great not to have them, but sometimes you might need them. Sometimes you might be in a crunch. Sometimes you might have expected a scholarship that you didn't get. Also, things just change. You never know. I'm the type of person, I don't believe it until I see it and until I have it. So you never know what'll happen. So I don't want that to take away from the scholarship application process because you should take it seriously. But the truth of the matter is, if you only got 15,000 in scholarship, but your dream school is 20,000, let's talk about how we can finance that other portion, and you can know more about that as well. Because I feel like it's about education for everything at this point. It's
It
really possible, and people should know that. So I'm glad that you talk about it because I don't want people to be afraid of that if that's what it takes to go to school. I'm not saying get $400,000 in educational debt, but don't be afraid if you have to take a small loan to take that loan to be able to do what you want to do or need to do.
Yeah, because I feel like it's a very extremes when it comes to student loans. I feel like we have people who are totally against them, and then people who are all for them because they like, I ain't gonna pay that back no way. But if you want a future in anything, that will mess up because it didn't, but it did put a little road down when I was trying to buy my house. Like that stuff really does impact your future. So be mindful and learn from what others went through. Because this is what these lives are about, to learn from each other, but to get to where you want to be. Yeah.
100%. I back you 100%.
Hmm.
All right, so we'll jump into the about us So at Scholars Stew, we believe every student deserves access to the resources that make college possible. So it's just like a good stew, it blends the right ingredients. We mix together guidance, tools, and encouragement. We help students find scholarships and funding that fit their unique journey. Now, students does not have an age associated with it. A student could be 18, a student could be 38. A student is anybody who is willing to learn. So Scholars Stew, though it's for college, you can go to college at any point. Just because you're 40 or 50. I even know some 60-year-olds who enroll because those are the personal goals that they have. So student is not reserved to somebody who matches the typical ages that you would be in a certain grade or a certain phase. And then we're more than just a scholarship search, so we're a partner in your success. Our team helps students uncover opportunities, strengthen your application, build powerful resumes, and write essays that shine. Whether you're applying for your first scholarship, a building, or portfolio, we're here to make that process less overwhelming. And our mission is simple: we stir up opportunity, serve it to students everywhere. With the right recipe of support and strategy, we help you turn your dreams into funded realities. So
Yeah,
we're here to make that process less overwhelming.
I love that. I really do.
Thank you. Now, this is a lot of text, and I typically don't like slides that are text heavy, but all of the information that is here is 100% needed. So this is a college app timeline. Now, I mentioned, when you're talking scholarships, it's no way not to talk about the college application process as a whole. So this timeline will kind of walk through it. So this is what you would typically be doing your senior year, but again, it can be done at any point. I just use senior year because that's typically when most people are applying to college, when most people are applying for those scholarships. So senior year, August to September, which is now, you want to finalize your college list. So in the next couple slides, I'll tell you about some of those different options of different types of schools. It's not just location, it's really everything. The world is your oyster when it comes to schools. There's so many types, there are different categories. So we'll get into that in the next slide. But if you want to go to college, you got to figure out where you want to go, and that's a process in and of itself. But you want to start thinking, maybe you have family members that went to a certain school. Maybe you're first generation and you've never had anybody go. You still have to narrow down the type of school that you would want to go to, whether it's small, whether it's large. Some people stay close to home. I went far away for undergrad, stay really close for grad. It's just all dependent on the experience that you might want. And then you want to start asking for those recommendations. Ask sooner rather than later. You don't want your application to be due November 1st and October 28th, 29th, 30th. You're just now asking for your letter of recommendation because your recommenders, they're teachers. It might be a coach. It might just be a mentor, somebody within your network who can vouch for you. They have lives. They have things that they have to do. We want to make sure that we're timely in asking for those. And then you want to start filling out the Common App or Coalition app. So this coincides with the first bullet. Depending on which school you want to go to, the majority of them are on the Common App. Now, the Common App is an application that essentially will allow you to do all of your college applications from one place. It was super helpful for me because it would give me the deadline. I think I applied to 30 something schools. I don't recommend anybody do that unless you absolutely want to, because when I narrowed it down, I kind of knew like, okay, I would probably was only going to go to 5 of the schools that I actually applied to. I was just applying to apply. I
Mhm.
don't recommend you do that, but they do have the Common App, which allows for you to do that. So you put in your personal information one time, you put in your personal statement, which you use for all of the schools. And then if the schools have specific essay questions or specific questions that they want you to answer, that'll also be listed in the Common App, and it'll tell you when everything is due. That by far made my process super simple. And then the Coalition app is the same thing. I've seen in my experience that the Coalition app is probably going to have more of your HBCUs, more of your smaller schools that are not on the Common App are probably on the Coalition app. And then you have a handful of schools that aren't on either. If that's the case, that is fine. Don't shy away from applying. This is just, an application that helps you to stay organized and helps things stay in one place.
I
So
love.
then, what'd you say?
I said I love that. I never even knew about either one of those apps, but a lot of things are coming out. I'll say to make our lives easier, and we still so focused on the things that are making our lives hard versus focusing on the things that are making our lives easier. Because I mean, I feel like that's amazing. I never knew you teaching me, so I'm gonna recommend that to people. Honestly,
Yeah, and it's free. It's free. You don't have to do anything. And what's really nice, I'm not as familiar with the Coalition app because they've made some changes in the recent years, but I logged in the Common App and it's the exact same as when I was applying to school, which I guess at this point was 6 years ago. That feels crazy to even think about. But the Common App is free. And then even if you have application fees that are within it, you can get a fee waiver through the Common App, and you will send it right to your counselor. So I don't even think I paid for any college application fees because
I
that.
don't either, but that's a really good. Whoever invented that, super smart. I really love that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It made my life so much easier instead of having to go to all these different websites, all these different places, try to keep up with all these deadlines. It was really nice to have it in one place. So I think now a lot of the high schools are mandating that students apply through Common App, and I think they have to be registered by September 1st or something like that, depending on the school.
Of their senior year.
Yep, of
Oh,
senior year. So
oh,
it typically be like as soon as they're coming back. But I was in high school 30,000 years ago, so I'm not exactly sure, if the guidance counselors are requiring that or what that process is like. And I guess too, it would just depend on your high school.
it depends on the school. That's what I was gonna say. It depends on.
Yeah. Yeah. My high school, I went to Kenwood Academy and they didn't play with us. Like we didn't have a choice. We were going to apply to 5 schools, whether we were going to attend them or not. Like everybody had a college acceptance. They weren't playing at all.
Good. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. So that's your August to September. And then October, so you want to submit your FAFSA. It opens October 1st. Now, there's a site about that, but that's just essentially a free application for student aid. It'll tell you about your Pell Grant. It tells you about really any grants that you're eligible for. It'll give you what's called an expected family contribution, which is kind of just based off of, it's based off of your income, well, your parents' income at that point, because it's dependent on your guardian. Because at 18, I don't know about you all, but I wasn't working. I had little small jobs, but it wasn't considerable income to make a financial decision off of. So it's typically based on the parent or guardian, or if you're an adult and you've been working, it's based off of your income. So you apply for state aid programs, and then you also will take your final SAT or ACT if needed. I know a lot of people take these standardized tests at the end of their junior year, but let's say you want to retake something or get a higher score. This is the time to do that so that it can your score can be back before it's time for you to apply, because that does play a role in the decision making process of the admissions teams. And then November, so that's your early action, early decision. So typically this is November 1st or 15th. So these are when you'll have your decision back typically by January, which is really nice because a lot of other deadlines, if you don't apply early action or early decision, you'll apply by January and you won't hear back till March. And for me, I applied to as many schools early as I could. Now, I want to take the time to explain the difference between early action and early decision. Early action is non-binding. You get your decision by January. I got some in December, some even by the end of that month. I already had decisions back, which is really nice. Not binding. So I got the decision early. If I wanted to go, I could. If I didn't want to go, I didn't have to. Now, early decision is different. I didn't apply anywhere early decision. I have commitment issues, and I know me. I didn't want to feel like I had to go anywhere. So early decision is like, okay, this is my number one school. I don't want to go anywhere else. If I get in, I'm gonna go because it is binding. I haven't had the experience of where people apply somewhere early decision and got in and did not go. So I don't know what that process is like, but I do know that it's binding. You sign a contract. You basically are saying, hey, I'm guaranteed to come should you offer me a spot. I didn't do that for any of my schools, but I know some people who did, and they got into their dream school that way because you do kind of get preference because that shows like, hey, I'm very, very interested.
Hmm.
And then of course you just keep applying for scholarships through November and then December through January. So these are your regular decision deadlines, typically anywhere from January 1st to 15th. You'll hear back by March or April for these. Some are late March, some are early April, some are end of April, which they try to do to give you some time before decision day, which is typically May 1st. And then February through March, some colleges will have later deadlines that are past that November or January. It just all depends on the school. And then some schools will have what's called rolling admission, meaning you can apply. I know some people who've applied to schools in May or June to move in August. So those are options as well. And then March or April, these are your regular decision deadlines or release dates, I should say. And then this is when you start to get your financial aid letters, which we'll talk about, just the comparison process. And then May 1st is National Decision Day. What a fun time that is. I don't know if you remember your decision day, Sierra, but mine was, it was so much fun. We got all dressed up. Everybody had on their stuff. I think I had on a hat. After school that day, I went downtown with my friends. Like, it was just a really, really good time. Super fun.
That's really good because honestly, that's you celebrating yourself. And I want to, like, I'm doing some conversation in it to lighten it up. But because usually only sports and athletes get to do, like, dress up in their college where they're going, but make everything that you do in your life a celebration. Like, you get into school, that's a celebration. A lot of people don't go to college, and I'm not saying college is for everybody, but if that's what you want and you got in and then you made that decision, celebrate. You get dressed up and have a good time. Like, even if you are 30 and you go back to school, go buy you a sweater from that store. That school
Yes.
store. I made sure I buy something for each school I go to. Like, it is a big deal. Like, that's a big accomplishment. Just graduating high school is a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I don't think I've realized that up until this point. It's like, I don't know, it just, that just felt like I was gonna do it. I had those goals and I worked toward them, but people, not everybody gets the opportunity. People very seldomly do get the opportunity and very seldomly have a good village or a good mindset to get them through, because you need those, unfortunately, but it's a privilege to have. And I think I've kind of just been blind to how much a privilege that is.
Yeah, but a lot of times when you're on the go and in it, we don't appreciate what we're going through while we're going through it. But we're just going through it. But at least you did go out and celebrate. Mine was mixed, but I feel like no matter what, always be your cheerleader. Be your biggest cheerleader. We already our worst critic. So I always tell everybody, be your biggest cheerleader. Cheer for yourself in everything that you do, even if it don't look like you taking the traditional path. If you decide to go back to school whenever, still celebrate yourself for even taking the opportunity to do that. And honestly, I don't want to bring it down, but I'm happy that you kind of mentioned that you know, I think it was, I don't know if you major or minor in African American studies, but I've been learning a lot. I've been doing my studies, and it's just like literally my mom was, and a lot of our parents were there during segregation, it's that close. And a little 5-year old, 1976, I just want to go to school. So, and I'm not trying to say it like that, like to go to school, but this is an opportunity that just literally 50 years ago we didn't have, because my mom was born, 73. Like, that's in 1989 in Arkansas, it's still segregated proms. Like, 1989, that's when I was born.
Mhm.
Like, so yeah, this is a big deal. And also, it does set you up for the future you want. Even if it's not for you, it could be a path that somebody chooses to get them where they're going. And education, knowledge is power. It's what you
Yeah.
do, how you apply it. But yeah, keep on. Keep on.
No, I'm glad you said that, because there's something that needs to be said. And when I majored in African American studies, and when I went to school, I won't lie, I 100% struggled. I could tell that it was not a space that was created with my type of people in mind. It was not created for people who looked like me, sounded like me, from where I was from. And
Mhm.
it's like, wow, first of all, it's a hurdle to get in. The application process it is a lot. I won't say that it's not. It's 100%.
It is a
You
lot.
have to be dedicated, because there's gonna be times where you just don't feel like it, or you still have, other homework or other responsibilities. Like, you just have other things that you need to do. So you're trying to juggle all of it. Then you get there and you're like, oh my God, like, I hustled to get here, and now I'm hustling to make it through. And it taught me a lot about myself, what I like, what I don't like, being my authentic self. I had to learn that. When I first got there, I was like code switching. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm not using any slang. Not that I can't speak properly, but I was overdoing it. I'm like, why am I overdoing it? Like, I'm from Chicago. They say we have an accent. I don't know. I can't hear it. Maybe it's because I'm from here.
I feel like I feel like Chicago is the south of the Midwest and up.
Oh my god.
I do.
They used to say that in college.
They got an accent. They got the good food. Can't nobody food and talk compared to the south. But Chicago, but
Hey,
that's also
you say so.
it is. It's there. It's there. But Chicago, we not on Chicago. But you went to the audience don't know you went to a PWI. I went to a PWI undergrad, not grad school, but undergrad.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that you even talked. I just finished a panel talk where one of our biggest topic was code switching. A lot of people don't even know that, like what it is, and but a lot of people do it not only in situations where, because the most common one is a black person talking white or acting white, whatever that means. But a lot of people code switch with family. A lot of people code switch in religion. A lot of people you know what I'm saying? They pretend to be one way. In reality, it's not. And honestly, that's integrity. And a lot of people don't have it because you're code switching unintentionally because we feel like that's the right thing to do. Like I don't want to be, especially as a black woman, I can speak on that. I don't want to be labeled as an angry black woman. I don't want to be stereotyped. I don't want to, but I mean, making it through it is a big accomplishment. I love the stuff that I've learned, and I like learning though. I'm a learner and a reader, and I like to consume all the information I possibly can because, knowledge is power, and I know it.
I'm right with you. I'm always trying to learn something. I learn something every day, whether it's just an article, a podcast, this or that. I'm always trying to just learn something because you can never know too much. And that's the beauty of the human brain. It's so much information that we already know that we can add to. And I don't know, it just to change your mindset. But I'm right with you. I'm constantly trying to learn something, which is why I loved school. I won't lie. I loved being in college. I really did.
Everything I could do, like I take advantage of my resources, and I
Yep.
hope that the audience is taking advantage of theirs. Like I said, you can always leave comments at any time, but I don't want to get us too off track of.
I know, right? We talking about Chicago and food and all type of stuff. You can go to the next slide.
But yeah, notify your school of your decision May 1st because a lot of the people who I've interacted with, they feel like they can just pick and choose whenever. And honestly, that's a reason why a lot of kids are not. And this is really for the traditional students who are graduates because a lot of the graduation class, which was the highest graduation class ever, and
Yep.
but a lot of black people did graduate this last year, but it was also the first largest class of first generation students. And I know personally my sister, my cousin, they had multiple schools, but I'm like, y'all, it's June, July. You can't just say I'm gonna go there and pop up. Like that's not how it works.
No.
So know your school by May 1st. I don't really care. Know your school by May 1st and tell that school. So now the rest of the summer, if you do have any outstanding things, you are in contact with the school you know you're gonna go with.
Yep. 100% heavy on the notified because a lot of people be like,
No,
I'm gonna go here and haven't said anything. You have to accept that decision. I accepted it and I went in to triple and quadruple check to make sure that it was checked off because I've seen that happen too. And then some schools might let you go, but they might not be able to guarantee housing. You don't get priority to picking your classes. They kind of treat you like, I don't want to say like a stepchild, but that's you kind of get like
yeah,
stepchild syndrome, and it's
yeah,
not good. You don't want that. Not when college is hard enough. You don't want any extra hurdles.
yeah. I agree. All right.
All right, then this is another super text heavy slide. I'm not going to read all of it, but these are just the type of schools. So I know we talked about step one, which is coming up with your list of schools. You got to figure out where you want to go, what type of school you want to go to. Do you want to go to an HBCU? Do you want to go to a PWI? There are a ton of other schools. So people only think that those are the two, those are the main two,
Yeah.
but there are a ton of other schools. Some of them are research colleges, some of them are all women, some of them are all men. With this, you kind of just have to do your research. If you can, start to visit schools. I went to a high school that we were doing college tours. That's actually how I found the school that I ended up going to for undergrad. Because for those who don't know, that school is in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is by New York, so that's on the East Coast, which is super far from Chicago. So, have that opportunity to go. Maybe you don't have to go as far. Maybe you, even if you don't, I know sometimes transportation can be a barrier. Maybe you just hop on a train and go down to different parts of Illinois. We have a ton of good schools here. A lot of people, distance is a concern. So you really can go wherever you want to go. You just have to figure out what that looks like for you and know what you're looking for. When I was 18, I was on the first plane smoking. You couldn't tell me nothing. I was so ready to go and figure out who I was and go far away. And I got to do that for undergrad. But once I got that experience, I was like, cool, I'm good. When I went to grad school, I knew I wanted to be closer, and I went to school 2 hours from home. I was home every weekend. I was coming to steal their toilet paper, do my laundry. Like it was what worked for me at the time. So you have to do what works for you at that time.
Yes.
All right. So once you kind of narrow down what school you go to, that determines your scholarship search. So of course you just want to look for money, period. But I know for a fact if you're going to an HBCU, they have a ton of scholarships just for HBCUs. If you want to go to a PWI, a lot of those schools have alumni funds for the scholarship. So it just all depends on what you're looking for. Now, if you know you're looking at both, all right, we're gonna have to work double time because now you're gonna have to apply for both because you don't know where you're gonna actually end up going. So my advice with that is to do your FAFSA. You start with that first. That's your free application for federal student aid. This is free money. Now, I'll address the elephant in the room. Politics have changed a lot of the grants, a lot of the free money, a lot of that has changed. It doesn't mean that it's not out there, but it has changed. I've heard significantly that the amount of money that people were getting from FAFSA, it's been reduced. This is going to be my first go around with college applications following the decisions made by our president. So we'll see. Not 100% sure what that looks like, but this is where you start with that, and it will go line by line, give you a breakdown. The biggest tip I have for this is have all of your information before you start. Again, if you're 18, they're going to be looking for your parents' information. So make sure I'm not gonna lie, it says to do it alongside a parent. I did not. I want my mama to just give me everything. She gave me everything and I did it. However, with it being, sensitive, you need your parents' social security number. You're gonna have to get into the weeds of their income. They may not be 100% comfortable with sharing that with you. That's fine. They have a link that the parents can complete. So they'll have their separate area where they can put in all of their information. But yes, this is the starting point. What you do in the FAFSA, I didn't want to take up too much time to go line by line, but it's actually very self-explanatory. It tells you all the information that you need. It also has information boxes if you need clarification. And then the processing time is typically a couple of days, and they will send you back your student aid report. And you
And,
send that aid report to different schools.
and I also want to say this too with FAFSA because of what I run into. So, and honestly, and I'm speaking for any population, but of course I'm speaking for my group of people that I know personally, and from my experience. So with FAFSA, when I first filled out FAFSA, I wasn't pregnant yet and I didn't have a kid. But when I did end up going to college, I did have a child by that time. And when you have a child, if you have a child, it's a different type of funding that you tap into under FAFSA because you're not a dependent, you're independent. And a lot of times you do get more money as an independent student because you don't have they say you don't have a parent, that's going to help you with college funding. And a lot of people, even though their parent is there, they still may not have the help. And sometimes I'm just going to say it, especially in the Black community, honestly, in a lot of different cultures, a lot of people have this pride and they want to lie and make it seem like they got more money. But if you if you say you got more money, your kid is getting less funding. So
Mm-hmm.
don't try to make up nothing and be honest as possible. And honestly, also if you need more funding and you want to be an independent, you can get a request from your guidance counselor to make it so you're independent, so you don't need your family or your parents. Because sometimes a lot of us can't get in contact with them. Or for like me, when I first filled out, I was like, "You, mom, I need your information," and I did it. But luckily, I had a parent like that who would do that because some parents
Exactly.
won't, or some people can't find their parents. So don't feel like school is over with you because you see you need your parents' information. No, go to the guidance counselor. Closed mouths don't get fed. Ask for what you need to do so you can still go to college and receive whatever free money they do got. Because, like you said, the laws are changing and things are going to be changing when it comes to FAFSA and student aid and all of that good stuff. So honestly, I'll be telling people, get in while you can, honestly, because you don't know what's going to happen. So if you ever needed a sign, go back to school now.
100%. I echo all of that.
I would go. Do you have anything else that you want to add on this?
No.
Okay.
All right. So this is it coincides with, once you start thinking about your school, and then after you've done your FAFSA and you get your student aid report, you want to look at different types of schools. So different types of schools, you have what's called a match, a reach, and a safety. Now a match is these are colleges where your academic profile is in line with the admitted student. So this would mean SAT scores in line, ACT scores in line. Some schools have, a typical income that they will accept. This is just you as a candidate, you as a student, if it aligns with folks that they've admitted in the past. So your admission chance is moderate to good, 40 to 60%. And then this just means that these schools are a strong fit. So let's say a match school could be a state school. Let's say that their average ACT or SAT is 1200. You know that you got a 1250. Okay, cool. Let's say you got a 4.5 GPA and their average admitted GPA is a 4.2. Okay, cool. That's probably going to be a match for you. Now a reach. This is where your test scores, class rank, etc. It might be below the average. This is your admission chance low 5 to 25%. Why apply? It could be your dream school or a highly prestigious program. Now I won't lie. I applied to a reach school for undergrad and I ended up getting in. It doesn't mean that you won't get in. It just means that, hey, they typically don't accept students that have your GPA, or previously they have not accepted students that match your profile, which is your GPA, your test scores, and your rank. And then a safety, this is your admissions chance 70, 90%. Let's say that they admit students that have an average test score of 1200, average GPA of 3.0. You're at a 5.0, you got a 1500 test score, you're more than likely to get in. So these serve as, it's a safety for a reason. My safeties were most of our state schools, a couple of HBCUs that I knew that my GPA had far exceeded what they typically will accept. You want to have a mix of each of these because it makes all the difference, because you don't know where you're going to get in. You could apply to a reach, get in, apply to a safety, not get in. So you want to have a good mix, but you want to make educated decisions about where you're applying.
Mhm.
You can go to the next one. All right. And then, once you come up with your list of schools, we talked about it already, but this will be step 2. You want to narrow down your academic discipline. Now, I won't lie, this changes a ton. And I don't want to say don't stress it, because it is important, but don't stress it in the sense that you could think you're going to do one thing and go into a totally different thing. I applied to undergrad as a chemical engineer. Of all the degrees I mentioned, all the things I studied, I didn't study engineering one day. I did a program that actually started before college did, and we got to take classes for about a week. I hated it. People were not speaking to each other. They were all in their own zones, in their own bubble. I was cracking jokes. Nobody was laughing. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm very funny. So I just knew that there was something wrong and that I didn't belong in those areas, because I am very bubbly. I thrive off of talking to people. I love human interaction. So I ended up changing my major freshman year. But you kind of want to go in having an idea of what you want to do. If you know that you're interested in STEM, okay, they have scholarships that are for that. If you know that you they have scholarships for honestly everything. They have a scholarship if you're left-handed. I didn't know anything about this. Like it's crazy. They have scholarships for people who wear glasses. They have scholarships for people whose parents were in the military or veterans. They have scholarships for quite literally everything. So you kind of want to one figure out where you want to go, what scholarships they have available, and then think about your personal identifiers that could qualify you for other scholarships.
And like you said, the same thing, very much so similar. When I went to school, first of all, my whole entire life, I said I was going to be a lawyer. And for 1 second in my life, I said I was going to be a neonatal nurse. And that's only because I liked it how it sounded. And I went to school and I was just like, I felt on the spot. And my mom, teacher, this is all she talked about was being a teacher, wanting to be a teacher. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to go into that. I'm so happy my freshman year I was able to student teach my freshman year because I signed up for things. And I don't know, I just got it. It wasn't for me. But my sophomore year, but I was going to still go with it because when it comes to school, I'm very dedicated, so I can do the work, and it wasn't hard. But I'm like, man, I guess everybody hate their job anyway, so I guess I'll be one too. But then I took social work, intro to social work. I went right after that class my sophomore year. I changed my major. It was right up my alley. It was everything that I'm like, oh, we talking about life. I can do this. But finding at least have a few, and don't minimize yourself. Do what you want to do, and if it don't work, okay, at least you know you gave it a try. It's not something, and don't stick with it just because you feel like it's something you have to. You can change, but the more you know, the better.
I
Being,
agree 100%.
yeah,
What'd you say?
being honest with yourself, I think it will take you for very far in this college on this college path, I'll say.
Yeah, it will. And one more thing I'll say, I think that I wanted to be an engineer because my family wanted me to be an engineer. Your
Mhm.
family doesn't have to sit in your classes for you, and your family doesn't have to work the career for you. So you have to make sure that what you're picking matches your interests because you're the one that has to show up to class every day. You're the one that has to carry that degree and use that degree into a career. So you have to make sure, like you said, like Sierra's saying, be honest with yourself 100%. And then also, too, realize you might do some soul searching. You might not get it right your first try. So many people change their majors and it makes them so much happier. So don't be afraid
I
to
love
change and don't be afraid to adapt. Because I'm in your same boat. I was so happy when I changed. I'm like, dang, I don't
it.
have to go in this engineering building no more. I don't want to go in there. Like I'm good. I can never go in there again and be totally okay. And I didn't have to do that going forward. So you
Yeah.
gotta do that soul searching.
Okay.
All right. And then I mentioned earlier, I know Sierra, you was talking about some of the loans you took. Loans are, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. Again, we don't want them. We're never going to just, totally blow our scholarship application process because we know that loans are an option. You want to get as much of that free money as you can. Any money that you don't have to pay back, you want to start early so that you can get that money, use that money, and be good. Now, like I said, let's say you get into your dream school. They've given you a $15,000 scholarship. You need $17,000 to go. Here are some of the options you have to get that additional 2,000 because in the grand scheme of things, 2,000 for a college degree, or even if it's just for that first year, that's not bad. You have to think about the return on your investment. You'll get a $2,000 loan, but then you can go get $100,000 salary where you can pay that loan back. So
Mhm.
the type of loans are here. They have federal loans. So we have a subsidized, which is no interest while you're still a student. The government will pay that interest for you. Then you have unsubsidized. Interest begins accruing as soon as you take the loan. So obviously you will want to do. Oh, go ahead.
That's one of the laws that is changing. Actually, they're
Okay.
getting rid of subsidized loans. I know that's part of the talk with the change in the student aid. They're going to be getting rid of the subsidized. When I did decide to get loans, I only had subsidized my junior and senior year of undergrad, but um, I've had both after because I did get my master's. But I would say, honestly, take the time that you need to take to get as many scholarships, grants, and worst case scenario, if you do, because even after my free money, my grants, all I still have money left over. It just wasn't enough to handle what I needed. But um, especially with this subsidized leaving, honestly, I would go for a private loan with a credit union or your bank if possible, if you have the credit to do it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
The
know
interest rates are way better that way.
it is.
It's way better because they know how to get you. So
Mhm.
that just goes into what we're saying. Like do your research. That was news to me that the subsidized was leaving. So we only have unsubsidized federal. So we want to stay away from the federal loans as much as possible because as soon as you take the loan, your interest is gonna start accruing. So you want to get as many scholarships as you can. So apply for those first. That's the goal.
It
But
is.
if you do have to get a loan, let's try to stay away from the federal ones because you do get way better interest rates if you take it out privately. And then, like Sierra said, you may or may not have the credit. They do have parental loans, so they have different Parent Plus loans. I forget what Plus stands for. It's actually an acronym that stands for something. But I know I have a family friend whose father just took out a loan for his daughter because he got a significantly better interest rate than she would have because he has that credit established. So that's an option as well. Again, we don't want loans. We're not speaking that into existence, but I want you to have the education because if $3,000 is going to stop you from getting your degree, you definitely want to go get a loan for that because that's a petty amount, and a college degree will do so much more for your life than that $3,000 would.
Mhm. And honestly, right now the things are not in effect. So take advantage of what you can. And I'm not saying federal loans, but it is a lot of free money out there, not just for school, but for literally anything you want to do. And I am going to have a live on grant writing and free funding and the money because there's a lot of money out there. We just don't know about it. And nothing is right. Like I said, I got subsidized, unsubsidized. I didn't get any private loans or parental loan. Honestly, I couldn't qualify for them when I first, my credit wasn't good enough.
Mhm.
Federal, it doesn't look at any of that. So if that's your only option, do what you have to do to get the degree that you want.
Yep. Want and deserve.
Yes,
Deserve one. We all deserve one.
you do.
Yeah. All right. And then these are just some of the truth about scholarships. So it's an art, not a science. You're going to get some, you're not going to get some. There's really no algorithm. I wish that there was a cut and dry explanation. There's really not one. It just all comes down to the scholarship committee, who they decided will be the best fit or who they've picked. Sometimes it's random. Let's say you and another applicant have the exact same GPA, same test score. It may come down to who's personal statement they like better, or I don't know. You never know what the committee will be looking for, so you want to make sure you're putting your best foot forward and that you're applying to as many as you can because that'll increase the likelihood that you're going to get something. And
Mhm.
then with that, you have to be consistent. So I have a quote here from Maya Angelou about consistency. One isn't necessarily born with courage, but one is born with potential. Without courage, we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. You have to be consistent. I considered this to be a part-time job. I didn't pay for school. It was a combination of money that the school gave me in addition to outside scholarships. I applied every day after school my entire senior year. I started that first semester, finished up that second semester. I even went into the summer because some of those deadlines didn't a lot of applications didn't close until August. So I'm like, I'm gonna keep applying. And I forget how many I got. I think of the probably 30 to 40 I submitted, maybe more. I probably got like 10 of them. So the more you apply, the more you are increasing your likelihood that you'll get something. And then just a reminder to never give up. Don't allow defeat to consume you. Again, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That's similar with the college application process. You're going to get into some places, you're not going to get into others. It has nothing to do with you as a person. It depends on a lot of factors that honestly are just beyond our control. So you got to put your best foot forward and know that if it's for you, you'll have it. But you do have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, I agree. But that's honestly what you said, Maya Angelou said, it's for everything in your life, honestly. Because even when we talk about these grants, it's do you want it bad enough? Because some people we go into it, but a lot of you must not want it bad enough if you're going to give up that easy. Because what you said, 2,000, 3,000, I don't care what the number is. Nothing should stop you from getting what you want in this lifetime, honestly. And like I say, closed mouths don't get fed. You might just be one question or one ask for advice or guidance away from getting everything you want in this life. So ask the questions, get the answers, and keep going until you get the answer you're looking for or get what you want out of this lifetime.
100%. One man's no is another man's yes.
Yes.
And then this side is super simple, but I think it needed its own one. It's hard. There are resources that make it easy. I'm one of those resources that make it easier. It's still going to be difficult. Again, that was the most challenging thing that I've ever done, honestly, hands down. But looking back, I'm glad that I did it. I'm glad that I toughed it out. I'm glad that I saw it through. It's not easy to apply. It's not easy to go. It's not easy to make it through. But once you have that degree and once you graduate, it's like a breath of fresh air. My family would jokingly tell me like, "Girl, you better bring that degree home." And I bought my degrees home 100%. Like I wasn't going there to play. I was bringing them home regardless. Nothing was going to stop me from bringing it home. And then something I want to quickly touch on too. Everybody's journey is different. Some people graduate in 4 years, some people graduate in three. Sometimes it takes people six. It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing what you need to do and finish it and understand like, hey, a setback shouldn't mean quit. Never quit by any means. No matter how tough it gets, you keep going until you have that degree and until you have those letters behind your name because those credentials go a long way. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. So my website is there. It will be launching officially Monday. That's our official launch date. So I'm super duper excited. It has the different services that I offer. Like I said, a student is anybody at any age. Don't feel like you have to currently be enrolled in a high school to receive those services. I have people who are 18 who I've helped. I've had people who are 58 I've also helped. And I do scholarships, I do resumes, I do essay writing. There's a package that I'm putting together that will encompass all of those services. So if you want the full thing, that's fine. If you want to do stuff a la carte, that's fine as well. But I'm really excited. And then that's my email there, adp@scholarstu.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Once the website is live, there will be an option for a free consultation because again, this is information. It's not about me monetizing. I'm going to be okay because I once I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, the money will flow. So it's not about the money for me. It's about people getting that information. So if you need a free consultation, maybe you just need some advice, or maybe you want me to I don't know, quickly just give you some tips. That's fine as well. The free consultations so be linked, and you can schedule them at your leisure. It'll be 15 minutes, and I don't mind doing that. And then our Instagram will be live Monday as well. It'll be scholar_stu, where I will post scholarship Sundays and also just any information just to get you pumped, get you interacted, and get some information about scholarships out there because they're important. It'll also be your accountability piece. While you're scrolling on that Instagram and you see me on my story, you should be applying to some scholarships.
Yes, I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here talking about this. It's a really important topic um, that a lot of people honestly need to hear about, especially high school seniors, juniors. I have a high school junior. Um, yeah, it's really important information. So I'm so happy that you're actually doing this, starting this business for people who definitely need it. I know so many people who need it. But is there any lasting words of advice or any guidance that you want to give to anybody who's watching right now?
Yeah, I would just say keep going, keep pushing. If you're here and this information has gotten to you, that means that you want to better yourself, you want to set yourself up. And there are plenty of resources to do it. Like Sierra said, she took advantage of every single resource. I think a lot of people don't know about the many resources that are there. There's so much free money that's out there. There's so many different tools that now can help us where there's really no excuse for you not to achieve your goals. So just keep going. Again, you're in the right place. If this information has gotten to you, of course, I'm willing to help. I will do whatever I can. Again, I'm super passionate about it through and through. I just had a baby. He's 6 months. Best believe we won't be paying for school for him. I'm already on him. Like I'm already on it. You're gonna be doing extracurriculars. You're gonna do all the things that make you marketable. As an applicant. So
Mhm.
you're in the right place. You're in the best of hands, and I'm excited to help. 100%.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll just say if anybody have any questions before we leave, drop them in the comments now, and I'll just, we'll see. I'm gonna wait a few seconds, and then yeah. I mean, I don't want to say okay, I'm done now. It's 7, but I really do appreciate you so much for doing this. Like I said, I mean, I learned something, and I'm happy that I learned something because now I tell people about it, and I think it's great because, like you said, in the beginning of the timeline, right now it's a really good time to put this out there because people should be already starting the process, especially if you are a senior. So yeah, I think this is really good.
Thank you for having me. Such
Okay.
an honor and a pleasure to talk about what I'm passionate about. So thank you.
And I can tell you very, very knowledgeable on the information. So I'm excited because the people are in good hands with you. I'm gonna let them know that they are in good hands with you. So thank
They
you.
100% are in good hands.
All right, thanks.